When you look at the prices of crypto today, at least at, the top coins, right? Say the top 10, the top 15, a lot of things have changed. There are a lot of coins that have entered that region. There are other coins who have exited that region. Prices have been volatile, right? They've been up, they've been down. If we take Bitcoin, for example, at the lowest lows of this bear market, we've been down in the $3,000 range, and we've gotten all the way up to 14,000. Now we find ourselves, at this 10,000, $11,000 range. And that's not necessarily a new range. We've spent a lot of price action trading around these areas. Around the 10K region is also an area that I see there is a lot of emotion around because it's a big psychological barrier, right? Bitcoin going from a 5-figure or from a 4-figure to a 5-figure price, and also just the psychology that goes into that, right? Seeing it go from 9,000 up to 10,000. It's a good spot that people FOMO in. A lot of people are buying and selling Bitcoin between that 9,000 to 11,000, 10,000 right in the middle region, just because of how psychologically weird it is to people. A lot of times people are either FOMOing in or FOMOing out of that region. So, and we're looking at Ethereum too at 367, right? Much lower than its previous highs of over $1,000. XRP still nowhere near its highs of $3. Bitcoin Cash at 252. Chainlink is a bit newer, right? We've seen Chainlink go up to 20, so that's only down by 50% at $10. That's not that bad. It's not like we've been going through a crazy bear market with Chainlink, right? Chainlink gains are still relatively fresh, they're still relatively new, and there's a lot of people that are still in immense profits on Chainlink. Again, compared to other cryptos, Chainlink only being down about 50% is pretty good. Cardano is at 10 cents, right? So still not the dollar that it once was. Litecoin at 47. So, it could kind of make you question where is all this crypto going, right? Is crypto just going to continue to go sideways? Is a bull run actually going to come in, which is what I see a lot of people really asking the questions of. It's like people are starting to get doubtful now. Is this big bull run with a lot of wealth coming in, and the market cap going much, much higher than it is now, right? Possibly a multi-trillion dollar market cap. Is this actually going to happen? Or are we just going to go sideways and maybe go up slowly, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as a whole has matured? And those are some good questions. Honestly, I don't think that we are at the point where cryptocurrencies have matured at all. They're still highly volatile, especially some of these other coins. When you get out of the top 10, out of the top 20, these coins with a lot lower market cap make very, very giant moves, right? There's a lot of money to be made if you are trading those markets. But on this video, I want to kind of go over, what can we kind of expect from crypto, right? What can we expect crypto to be doing going forward? Are we just going to be going sideways? Are we bouncing around this $10,000 region forever? Is a bull run coming? I just want to look at a few pieces of news that can help us basically put that together, paint the image in our minds. Right now our fear and greed index, we sit it at 52 on the fear and greed index, so we're at neutral. Are we ever going to get back to those times of those extreme greed moments, right? We know we had a little bit of that. If we pull up this max chart, we had some of that back here in June of 2019, right around that area. But we haven't had that extreme greed of above 90, almost 100, and there for, quite a while, right? A lot of people making money, a lot of people thinking they're the next Warren Buffett. So with that said, let's take a look at this, right? Investors pumped $1.05 billion into Grayscale's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and altcoin products in a record quarter. So Grayscale says a record-breaking $1.05 billion worth of investments flowed into its family of digital products in Q3 of 2020. This is the firm's third consecutive record-breaking quarter and surpasses Grayscale's previous highs of $906 million in quarter two. They say Grayscale's assets under management reached all-time highs during 3Q20, a broad reflection of investment interest in the digital currency asset class. Year-to-date, Grayscale's assets under management increased from $2 billion to $5.9 billion, a rise of approximately 195%. In 2020, investments into Grayscale have doubled from the $1.2 billion that was invested between 2013 and 2019 to $2.4 billion. Since its inception in September of 2020, 2013. Cumulative inflow across Grayscale's products now totals $3.6 billion. Specifically, investments into the firm's flagship Grayscale Bitcoin Trust records the fastest growth. Okay, so Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust is their fastest growing trust, which is kind of to be expected, right? Because Bitcoin's still kind of that household name, right? We still need to get Bitcoin itself to mass adoption before people can even start looking at altcoins and everything else, unless Bitcoin disappears. That's something different. But as of right now, Bitcoin, and I think the mass awareness of Bitcoin is going to be very important for the success of other cryptocurrencies as well. I think Bitcoin winning is a good thing for cryptocurrencies across the board. So it's bringing inflows of 719.3 million between July and September, or an average of 55.3 million per week. So it's quite a bit of money. The trust has seen its assets under management rise from 1.9 to 4.7 billion year to date. However, Grayscale says demand for alternative products records the most significant growth. While Bitcoin continues to be a major part of Grayscale investor allocations, the most notable uptick in growth comes from products that hold alternative assets. Products excluding Bitcoin accounted for 31% of inflows during 3Q20. See, so the altcoins are starting to pick up that steam as well, which is awesome to see. The firm brought in an average of 80.5 million per week in Q3. Together, Grayscale's altcoin products, which include the Grayscale Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum Classic, Zcash, and Horizon Trust, along with the Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, brought in a weekly inflow of 25.2 million. That's an increase of more than 1,400% quarter on quarter, said Grayscale. In addition, Grayscale notes that the Ethereum Trust now holds 13% of the total inflows, 17% of which comes from institutional demand. Institutional investors, i.e. hedge funds, accounted for 84% of the total investment inflows. See, guys, so Grayscale is basically a vehicle for these hedge funds to get exposure to cryptocurrencies, and look at how much they are investing, right? We're not talking about thousands of dollars, but Grayscale's talking about revenues of 25 plus million per week, right? I think one of the figures we read off was 80 or 85 million. So this is insane amounts of money, coupled with people like me and you, right? There's tons of us. There's hundreds of thousands of us that are probably just dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and other various currencies. That's not even to mention the traders. And that's not even to mention the hobbyists, or people who are just passionate about it and want to own it more because they might not even see the potential of making money and ROI and investing. It just might be something that they are passionate about, right? Grayscale says in 3Q20, Grayscale's family of products significantly outperformed the major indices, even when taking into account fees, expenses, and other costs associated with the funds. The surge in inflows to Grayscale's products may be related to the continued outperformance of digital assets, making them more difficult to ignore as a potential portfolio enhancer. Also, guys, I wanted to point out again, their family of products significantly outperformed major indices, even when taking into account fees, expenses, and other costs. That is insane, guys. That means that this is a booming industry, right? This is an industry that has rocket fuel and it's about to go. At least what I'm seeing, right? We're seeing quarter on quarter massive growth that, most traditional companies they don't experience that, right? This is pretty crazy growth that we are seeing here, especially for the type of business that Grayscale is and the stigma around cryptocurrencies right now. And Grayscale's doing over 20 million a week. That is just absolutely insane. Let's also move on. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, a like is greatly appreciated to help boost this video in the algorithm, help grow the channel, help grow the digital investor family. So Dan Tapiero believes Bitcoin could face a supply shortage if institutional demand for BTC continues to increase. Let me tell you, that would be pretty insane if we saw a Bitcoin shortage, right? Especially we've had the halving, so the rewards are cut in half, right? We know these institutions are now buying up a lot of Bitcoin. I'm sure soon, as more and more institutions, right, and hedge funds as they get into Bitcoin, they're going to start competing against each other to buy Bitcoin. I think at that point, owning a whole Bitcoin is going to be pretty much almost maxed out for the average Joe. If not, I mean, for some people, owning an entire Bitcoin at this price level of 11,000, I mean, it's already maxed out. Some people cannot even fathom that. So, when institutions are competing for this, owning a whole Bitcoin for the average person out there is going to be insanely hard to obtain. I don't think if you can obtain a Bitcoin, you probably won't be the average person. Anyways, let's just get into the article. In recent months, there's been a considerable spike in institutional demand for Bitcoin following several high-profile investments. Over time, asset manager and 10T Holdings co-founder Dan Tapiero believes that this could lead to a problematic shortage in BTC. Based on rapid growth, Tapiero warns that short sellers could see trouble in the future. In the third quarter of 2020, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust recorded an inflow of 1.05 million. Okay, that's what we just went over right here, guys. That's what we just went over. All right. And so what Tapiero says is Grayscale recorded its largest ever quarterly inflows, over 1 billion in 3Q20, making it the third consecutive record-breaking quarter year to date. Investment into the Grayscale family of products has surpassed 2.4 billion, more than double the 1.2 billion cumulative inflow into the products from 2013 to 2019. The timing of Grayscale's record-breaking quarter is noteworthy because it comes several months after BTC price dropped below $3,600. On March 13, Bitcoin fell $3,600 after a $1 billion worth of futures contracts were liquidated. BTC has steadily recovered ever since, eventually rising above 12,500 in early September. Institutional demand for Bitcoin surged rapidly after what is now referred to as one of Bitcoin's steepest falls in recent history, and this indicates institutions see staying power, okay? Bullish continuation, Bitcoin here to stay. Bitcoin as a deflationary asset, right? A safe haven, if you will. Institutions are seeing this. They're saying this. Staying power. Tapiero said, shortages of Bitcoin is possible. Barry's Grayscale Trust is eating up Bitcoin like there is no tomorrow. If 77% of all newly mined turns into 110%, it's lights out. Non-miner supply will get held off market and squeeze. Shorts will be dead. Price can go to any number. And that's what we're talking about, guys. That massive inflow of wealth that would come from a bull run, right? That would shoot the price of these asset classes basically into another orbit, into new price discovery. That might sound like hype, but it's not impossible for these digital currencies to go into new price discovery. They've done it before. Stocks in the stock market find new price discovery. So not everything is hype. You know what I mean? I could see how this video might get some comments saying, "Oh, you're hyping it." I don't think there's anything hyping about speculating that some of these digital currencies could go into new price discovery, right? Could basically, in our slang language, go to the moon, right? It's moon time, guys. It's moon time. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. You can't get any more. So a shortage, I mean, of course, at some point on a fixed asset or a fixed anything, right? Whether it's an asset class or something physical, eventually there's a shortage on it because you can't get more of it. And then that makes it scarce and it makes the value of that thing go up. Obviously, simple supply and demand, right? These are concepts that the entire world realizes. So the speculation about a potential supply-side crisis around Bitcoin also coincides with the post-halving cycle. Bitcoin went through its third halving on May the 11th, and historically, halvings lead to extended bull runs in the next 2 years. The halvings are proven to have a direct impact on BTC price, especially over the long term as the rate at which the remaining BTC supply is introduced to the market slows down. Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million, and as with each halving, the amount of BTC miners can produce decreases, hence fewer BTC available in the market to purchase every 4 years. In 2016, it took Bitcoin around 15 months to reach a peak after the second halving. If a similar pattern follows, a year from the most recent halving would be around the third quarter of 2021. Coincidentally, the current post-halving cycle is being met with unprecedented institutional demand, right? And as we said in the beginning of the video, guys, when you look at cryptos today, it looks like we're going sideways, right? We're kind of, is Bitcoin going up? Is it going down? We're still down, about 50% from our old all-time high. Let's say we call our old all-time high $20,000, right? And we just say we're down 50%, right? We've been down lower than that. That's about where we're at right now. And it's been a couple years since then. a lot of people are walking away from crypto. A lot of people are thinking that, you know, this is it. This is what crypto is, and there's not money to be made here. They're thinking I will come back when Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies start popping off again. But it never works like that. The money is always going to be made when you've been studying Bitcoin while it's been terrible, while it's been gut-wrenching, while you've been losing money, so you could then adjust your strategy accordingly. If the people who have walked away at this point and said they will come back when crypto gets interesting again, without knowing it, they have completely set themselves up to fail. They'll make the same mistakes that they have made in the past, and they'll probably continue to make the same exact mistakes, right? Because they're not committing themselves to cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency, of course, you could throw money in, hold it, and wait years. However, a lot of people, they just can't do that. Or a lot of people, they need the money for certain things, or they have a goal in mind. And so you start watching the prices every day. And really, when you're watching the prices every day is when it starts to mess with your head, right? That's when you start selling or you start buying, you're making emotional decisions. So if you're going to be looking at prices every day, you really better be doing your research, because by doing your research, you won't get shaken out, because you basically know what's happening, right? I mean, you don't know exactly what's happening, but you know where you are on the road, right? You know where we're going, you know where we're headed, and you know if things go wrong, you can be one of the first people to know about it. You can react, and you can, you know, cut off your position before the masses do, and then you're selling your position at a loss, right? You can cut your losses or cut break even or take your profits early, right? Because you're looking when nobody else is, right? You're ahead of the trend, you're ahead of the masses, you're ahead of the crowd. That's the spot where you want to be. So a Bitcoin shortage, is it possible? Why not? It's a fixed asset class of 21 million institutions, right? Again, while prices are sideways today, institutions are eating this up, right? Dan Tapiero said they are eating it up. Grayscale fund is eating up all of the Bitcoin, right? And when more institutions get on, you know, yes, we're DCAing. I know a lot of people are still DCAing right now. Once more institutions start not even DCAing, but making massive investments, that's when we're going to see that getting a Bitcoin is almost impossible for the average Joe, right? Basically, that could be causing a Bitcoin shortage when people can barely afford 0.1 of a Bitcoin, and that would be the time when everybody's after it, right? The masses, people, your grandma, right? They're not going to be buying Bitcoin when it's under $20,000. It's not when they're going to be talking about it. Some people will, but this mass wealth transfer that we are expecting, that we are waiting for, this bull run, people are going to be buying Bitcoin at $60, $70, $80,000 and thinking it's going to $1 million, right? I don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million this next bull run, but I think a lot of the new people coming in buying at $50, $60, $70,000, they're going to be buying with the expectation of Bitcoin going to $1 million within a couple years. But in reality, you know, Bitcoin going to $1 million, if that could even happen, you know, that's probably more like at least 10 years off. Just my opinion. Of course, you guys are entitled to your own opinions. And let's just all be respectful in the chat, have a conversation, if anything, because it's just crypto. We don't know what's going to happen. But my personal opinion, I don't see any way Bitcoin's going to be going to $1 million in this upcoming bull run. I think down the future, 10 years out, definitely a possibility. And if we look at this chart, right, logarithmic, a rainbow chart with these regression bands here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this chart before, but basically, we are on these lower regression bands, right? Historically, the best time to buy Bitcoin is when you're down here in this deep blue regression band, because look at that. You're basically buying when the Bitcoin price was the lowest, which means you have the maximum potential to get the largest ROI on your investment possible, right? Assuming you get your correct sell, get a good sell at the top here. And what a great time to be having a Bitcoin shortage than when we are right down here, right at these accumulation levels. And again, we don't have a Bitcoin shortage yet, but all these institutions, right, all these hedge funds through Grayscale getting exposure to Bitcoin in these accumulation ranges, and then eventually, as we're traveling up here, they're going to start causing a shortage, and the price is going to rise, and we get that next new bull run, just like we had back here, right? So at least that is the theory. That's what we are looking at. Again, none of this is investment advice, guys. This is just a video of research I've done, things that me and you have looked at. You guys give me a lot of great information in the comments, so leave your comments down below with any information you guys have or any of your own theories, because I love to look at everything. If you guys are enjoying the video, make sure you drop it a like. A like helps immensely in growing the channel. If you also are really enjoying it, consider subscribing, where you get a video like this daily. We cover cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, altcoins, and everything in the crypto space to help keep you up to date. Now back onto topic. topic, right? Is this bull run coming? Well, let's see what Grayscale says, right? Grayscale, the one that we just read about that pumped 1.05 billion into Grayscale's Bitcoin funds, right? Well, let's see what they say. Grayscale says 68.5 trillion tidal wave could boost Bitcoin and digital assets, right? I think it's pretty important to get Grayscale's opinion since they are the ones pretty much serving a large amount of these hedge funds getting exposure. So what does that company think, right? So the firm, which holds the most Bitcoin of any publicly traded company, says a transfer of capital from one generation to the next is likely to give digital currencies a massive boost. They say approximately 68.5 trillion in assets are expected to be handed down from baby boomers to Gen Z and millennials in the next 25 years. And multiple studies show these younger generations are much more likely to invest in digital currencies. The math on that one isn't hard. The number is based on a study from the global asset management research firm Cerulli, which showed more than 68 trillion will be transferred from 45 million US households to their heirs and charitable organizations. Grayscale's assessment that younger generations, and particularly millennials, are inclined to invest in digital assets is based on studies that show millennials distrust banks and are much more open to digital assets. Charles Schwab reveals that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust ranks number 5 and the top equity holdings of millennials above Disney, Netflix, and Microsoft. So that's pretty insane. It shows you that the younger generations, right, these millennials, are much more open to cryptocurrency than, say, their parents. And so when these millennials get this inheritance from their parents, it's going to be all about where do they put this money, right? Where are these millennials going to put their money, right? And the thing is, you know, do we want to be buying Bitcoin at 11,000 before these Bitcoins before these millennials inherit all this money and pour it into Bitcoin? Or do we just want to wait for Bitcoin to get lively and then we'll dump our money in with these millennials and Bitcoins at 50,000, right? I'd rather be in before the millennials right here and absorb all that millennial wealth along with absorbing it with all that Grayscale and hedge fund wealth. So millennials are also looking at cryptocurrencies as investments for the long haul. According to a Bankrate study, millennials are 3 times more likely to invest in digital assets than their predecessors. They say millennials picked cryptocurrencies as their top long-term investment about 9% of the time, about triple the rate of Generation Z. Earlier generations had negligible numbers of respondents selecting virtual currency as their top choice. All right, let's move on to asset giant Fidelity says Bitcoin could reach 1.3 trillion market cap. Here's how. In a new report, Fidelity argues that Bitcoin's market cap could skyrocket if it captures a fraction of the alternative investment market. They say if Bitcoin were to capture 5% of the alternatives market as measured by CAIA, that would equate to an incremental $670 billion growth in its market size. If it were to capture 10%, that would expand its market size by 1.3 trillion. According to Fidelity, the alternative investment market, which includes real estate, infrastructure, private equity, hedge funds, natural resources, private debt, and commodities derivatives, has grown to 13.4 trillion to occupy 12% of the global investable market in 2018. Also highlight that the CAIA is projecting that alternatives will likely surge to 24% of the global investable market by 2025. Fidelity explains why investors are motivated to buy the leading cryptocurrency. They say the rationale of certain Bitcoin holders for allocating to Bitcoin is similar to the rationale for allocating to alternative investments, notably portfolio diversification and return enhancement, right? Because, you know, these cryptocurrencies, they yield so much more return than any other traditional asset class by these very rich, very wealthy investors putting just a small portion of their portfolio, because a small portion of their portfolio is millions of dollars. So to be getting, you know, a 3,000% return with Bitcoin on a couple $1 million. I mean, yeah, that is some extreme portfolio return enhancement, right? Compared to what they're used to. That is like putting your portfolio on steroids. I mean, most people are just not used to that unless you're used to running Ponzi schemes or something. I mean, where else do you get that type of ROI, that type of gain? I can't name anything on the planet that I know of. Let's move on. Additionally, the interest in Bitcoin and other non-yield generating alternative investments could increase in response to the Federal Reserve and many other central banks cutting cutting their benchmark interest rate to 0 this year. In a world where benchmark interest rates globally are near, at, or below 0, the opportunity cost of not allocating to Bitcoin is higher. However, Bitcoin is fundamentally less exposed to the prolonged economic headwinds that other assets will likely face in the next months and years. Combined with its multifaceted narratives and an interesting effect of persisting retail and growing institutional sentiment, it could be a potentially useful and uncorrelated addition to investor portfolio toolkit. Man, yeah, is that bull run coming? I mean, that's what Fidelity has to say, right? Fidelity, okay, a giant. This is what Grayscale has to say. Grayscale, the entity that holds the most crypto through trust assets under management, allowing hedge funds and institutions and very wealthy investors to get exposure to Bitcoin. Dan Tapiero saying shorts will be dead and a Bitcoin shortage is on the way. And of course, we went over how much money is actually getting pumped into Grayscale. So yeah, you know, these crypto prices are pretty sideways right now. They look pretty boring. They look like, you know, what is going on? And what you really have to do is you have to look behind the scenes. And behind the scenes will tell you what's going on. And then with that, you have to plan accordingly, right? You have to have your ducks in order. And you have to be here now when these crypto prices are sideways and things are boring. Everyone who's here, as long as you keep a rock solid mindset through this thing, you're probably going to do very, very well, right? We are early. Look at this chart. Right? If you're thinking you're too late buying Bitcoin at 11,000, if I didn't have any Bitcoin right now, I mean, this is a great spot to accumulate, right? It's definitely not 3,000, but when you look in the long-term things, again, this is not investment advice at all, but when you look into the long term, people dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin right now at 11,000, I think at some point in the future will be looked at as very, very smart. I think people will be like, wow, I wish I could have bought Bitcoin at 11,000. Obviously, yeah, we wish we could have bought in here. But in the grand scheme of things, the returns, we're still going to make returns, guys. The bull run's still going to make you a lot of money. Even Bitcoin 10,000 to 60,000, that's a lot of money to be made. So is the bull run coming? I don't know. I think you guys know my thoughts. I really need to straight shoot you an answer. Let me know what you guys think. You guys tell me in the comments. Do you think a bull run is coming, or are you about ready to liquidate your holdings, uninstall Coinbase, uninstall Blockfolio, and just go back to living a life that does not have crypto in it? I don't know. You guys tell me. What do you think? If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We get a video like this daily, Bitcoin, altcoins, covering everything in the crypto space to try to keep you up to date. And I'll see you all on the next video. All right. I hope you have a great day, everybody.